So Savitri received the command, the summons from her being's summit. It is a summons. There is an imperative in the command. It cannot be disobeyed. Savitri must accept what she is being told to do. There is a difference between the summons or command and adesh. Savitri is not receiving an adesh. She is receiving an order. But in the case of the adesh, it is possible to ignore what is being told. In the case of a command, you cannot, you should not, you will not be able to ignore it. When Shivandu received the adesh, go to Chandranagar and later go to Pondicherry. It had a suggestive imperativeness in it. He could have ignored it. But by this time, he had developed a strong spiritual perception to go by the adesh. On an earlier occasion, he had heard a voice, kind of an adesh, which he ignored. And the result was he landed in the jail as an under trial prisoner in Alipur from 5th May 1908 to 5th May 1909. Well, he had ignored the voice, the suggestion, but later on he was also told that I have brought you here for a purpose. And it is from this point onward his dynamic spiritual life begins. He had by now acquired strength to go by what is being told to him in the form of an adesh. In the present case, as far as Savitri is concerned, there is no question of adesh. It is simply a summons from our being, summit came, a sound, a call, broke the seals of night. That is the power of the command, breaking the seals of night, the darkness of the ages, the primordial night, wherefrom the entire opposition to the divine manifestation springs up. Break the seals of night. That is the purpose of the command also. The voice makes its impact straight on the eyebrow center, Ajna Chakra. Suddenly, this lotus opens out and Savitri has to go by it, by what she has been told, the will and the knowledge, they will come into operation in the dynamics of her yoga. The voice touched the body and it became a stark and rigid golden statue of motionless trance. A stone of God lit by an amethyst soul. This is what the command has already done. She has become extremely calm, immobile, a golden statue lit by the amethyst soul. So whatever amount of the divine power might pour into it, into her soul, it will not get intoxicated. It will not get drunk with it. Savitri can keep on absorbing whatever divine power will be rushing into her. That is the amethyst soul. Around her body stillness, all grew still. And then what does the voice say? What is the command she receives? It's very specific. It tells her directly, straight away, without mincing words, what she must do. It is an imperative, that is it. Why camest thou to this dumb, death-bound earth? This ignorant lie beneath indifferent skies, tied like a sacrifice on the altar of time. O Spirit, O immortal energy, if it was to nurse grief in a helpless heart, or with heart tearless eyes, awake thy doom. Is it for that purpose that thou hast come here? No, surely it is not for that. Then Savitri must arise. Arise, O soul, and vanquish time and death. That is the command. She must get prepared to carry out this mission of her birth. There is no hesitation, no wavering in the voice. It's full-throated, vibrant, powerful, making the full impact on the soul of Savitri. Yet, Savitri is not in a position to see the fullness of what the voice is trying to convey to her. She has hesitation. She has a reservation regarding what she is to do, why she should do anything at all, why should even obey the command. But Savitri's heart replied, in the dim night, all these things are happening in the night, when Satyavan is asleep and Savitri is doing the yoga all the while. But Savitri's heart replied in the dim night, my strength is taken from me and given to death. Why should I lift my hands to the shut heavens, or struggle with mute, inevitable fate, or hope in vain to uplift an ignorant race? Who hug the Lord and mock the Saviour light, and see in mind wisdom's sole tabernacle, and its harsh peak and his inconscient ways, a rock of safety and an anchor of sleep. Is there a God whom any cry can move? He sits in peace and lives mortal strength, impotent against his calm, omnipotent law, and inconscience at the almighty hands of death. What need have I? What need has such a one to avoid the black meshed net, the dismal door, or call a mighty light into life's closed room, a greater law into man's little world? Why should I strive with earth's unyielding laws, or stave off death's inevitable hour? This surely is best, to pactize with my fate and follow close behind my lover's steps, and pass tonight from twilight to the sun, across the tenebrous river that divides the adjoining parishes of earth and heaven. Then could we lie in arms breast upon breast, untroubled by thought, untroubled by our hearts, forgetting man and life and time and its hours, forgetting eternity's call, forgetting God. To the command Savitri receives, man is time and death. This is the answer she is making. Savitri is putting a counter. She is not yet ready to directly accept the command, although it comes with an imperative force. She has a few points which she makes explicit in an answer to the command. Savitri answers back. Her answer is somewhat snappy, somewhat brisk also, somewhat, one might even say, arrogant. She is not going to accept what the voice is telling. It is as if she has her own mind, and unless it is convinced, she is not going to proceed further. What are the arguments she is making? First, she says, my strength is given to death. I have come here with the imperial power, born in the majesty as a princess, grown up in the loveliness of the world, found my lover in this difficult world. But now I see that he is doomed to die. all that I possess is simply snatched away from me. I don't have any more strength left with me. Death has taken away the strength of me. Her strength is given to death. This is what she says, my strength is given to death. And then she says, what is the use of making a prayer to heaven, to gods? They don't respond to our prayers. We weep and cry and then fall silent and no answer comes from the high gods. Why pray to shut heavens? That is the argument she is making, which is true in the human sense. We become helpless, we ask for certain things, but the gods there, their own reasons not to grant them, which we don't understand. Then finally she says, then again she says, why struggle with what is decreed, what is inevitable, what is bound to happen? It is fated that Satyavan must die. Accept it, simply. Why struggle then against that fate? If fate is all that powerful, then no amount of my struggle against that fate is going to help me. That is the argument. So why bother about all those things? Just accept fate and live the life as it has come. Why struggle with the inevitable fate? And suppose, if at all I do struggle against fate, if at all I claim back my strength from death, if at all my prayer gets answered by heaven, what is it all for? For man, who is such an insufferable being, who does not understand anything, who has no opening, who has no aspiration. What for? For these creatures. Why hope to lift an ignorant race? They are happy with their lot. They will continue the life as it is going on, and the answers from my prayers from heaven, getting back strength from death, in what way is it going to help mankind, the race, which is happy with its own misery, with its own pain, anguish, suffering? Man is not yet ready for receiving the higher boons, and therefore I don't see any point in making him struggle at all for him. Then of course she says also, look, I cry, I have shed tears, and the god of pain has remained unappeased, dissatisfied. He is not responding at all. Does my cry reach God? That is a query. She is demanding an answer from the voice. The command is coming, but the command must also answer some of these questions before she can accept it. Is there a God whom a cry can move? And then of course she says, what need have I? What need has Satyavan to avoid black meshed net, the dismal door, or call a mightier light into life's closed room, a greater law into man's little work? What need have I? What need Satyavan has for the greater light, for the greater law, which will change fate. I don't need those things at all, nor does Satyavan need them. Therefore, why should I struggle? Why should I go by what you are telling me? Arise, O soul, and vanquish time and death. Vanquish time and death for whom? For this man. It's not going to help me at all. That is an argument, very powerful argument. Now, it is not only the question of for this man, it is also a statement of fact. If it is not for man, is it going to be for me, for my husband Satyavan? We don't need that. We have that light, that law, as our native character. We are born in that. We are not alienated from light and for law. The divine incarnate is always in possession of that law and that light. So we don't need that law, not at all for myself. Of course, it's very true. Shivandu himself has said, neither me nor the mother want is supramental for ourselves. It is not for we that we need this supramental. Because it is already there with us. Whatever we are going to do, it is for this creation. To execute the will of the divine, of the supreme in this creation, towards the manifestation of the divine possibilities in this creation. It is for that purpose that we need supermind, not for ourselves. We don't need deathlessness. We don't need this, that, nothing. It is for the divine purpose that we need. So Savitri's answer here is very much related with that. What need have I? What need has Satyavan? When she is saying that she is in fact asserting the incarnate character of both of them, Satyavan and Savitri, to avoid the black meshed net, the dismal door, or call a mightier light into life's closed room, a greater law into man's little world. Why should I strive with earth's unyielding laws, or stay off death's inevitable hour? I can smash what has been already destined. Death is bound to come. That hour is fixed. It is inevitable. It is decreed. Why should I stay it off? For what purpose? That is her query. For me, perhaps, the better thing is to follow in the steps of Satyavan when he is no more there. Go along with him. She is again suggesting in another manner of accompanying Satyavan as Sati. She is willing to go along with him, plunge herself into the burning fire of Satyavan and join him forever and be together in the other worlds. This surely is best to pactize with my fate. Let me make a pact with my fate. And let me accompany Satyavan. Yes, fate has decreed Satyavan's death. Let me also make a pact with fate. Let me also join Satyavan. That is the pact Savitri is proposing. This surely is best to pactize with my fate and follow close behind my lover's steps and pass through night from twilight to the sun. It It is there we can go and live together always. Across the tenebrous river that divides the adjoining parishes of earth and heaven. After crossing the tenebrous river, we could lie in arms, breast upon breast, untroubled by thought, untroubled by heart, forgetting man and life and time and its hour, forgetting eternity's call, forgetting God. We don't need anything. We can be always together. This is the proposal Savitri is making. She can withdraw from this creation along with the death of Satyavan and join him permanently in some other country of God. As far as she is concerned, she does not need light, the divine light, because it is always there with her. She has taken a human birth, Satyavan has taken a human birth. Well, we can give it up, this human birth, and be together forever in the other world, in that light, in that love. Well, that is the general import of Savitri's counter to the command coming from her being's summit. She makes here a very distinct remark. Across the tenebrous river that divides the adjoining parishes of earth and heaven, between this mortal world and the world after death, there is the dark, tenebrous river which divides these two lands, these two countries, these two parishes. It is Vaitarani as presented to us by the Puranas, particularly Garuda Purana. The soul, after its departure, has to cross this river, Vaitarani, and then go to its peaceful abode. That is what happens normally in the case of a good soul. In the case of a sinful soul, according to the Puranas, the soul has to pass through the southern worlds and cross the southern gate and reach the land Yama, where it lies until all its past karmas are burnt away, are exhausted. Then it is ready to take the next birth. Vaitarani, the name itself is very beautiful, very lucid, and the waters are also clean and crystal, moving with the liberty of life. Why? Yes, truly, that is what why means. Truly, Tarini, Tarini, that is the actual form. One who saves, one who protects you beyond this life. Why Tarini? That is what Vaitarani is. It is that river which the soul crosses and reaches its abode of peace after death. Across the tenebrous river that divides the adjoining parishes of earth and heaven. In the Greek mythology also, we have the river Styx. It is after crossing the river that the departed goes to the underworld. Now this river Styx is a difficult river to cross, and there is a ferryman who helps you to take you across the river, Sharon. He is the one who takes the soul from one land to the other land. The Greek tradition is that the ferryman demands his fare to take you from this land to the other land. So the custom is, when a person dies, the relatives put a small coin in the mouth of the departed. The coin called obol. It is one obol which is put in the mouth of the departed, and it is that which is taken very happily, quickly, swiftly by the ferryman when he is taking the soul from this land to the other land. Obol is a coin of the smallest denomination. Actually, its value is 0. Obol in Greek also means 0. So it is that 0 coin of value which itself is extremely valuable to the ferryman. He takes it as his fare and helps you to cross from this land to the other land. So Savitri is talking of the tenebrous river by which she would like to go after the death of Satyavan by accompanying him also. Forgetting man and life and time and its hours, forgetting eternity's call, forgetting God. This is the kind of Vishala Yoga Savitri is practicing at this moment. Now, incidentally, here Savitri is telling the voice, personified Supreme Self or Savitri herself, that she is prepared to go along with Satyavan by making a pact with fate. And she will cross this river, Styx or Vaitarani or whatever you want to call it, and join him forever, permanently. Now, in the poem, later, as Savitri is accompanying Satyavan spirit, you have got Satyavan spirit, behind him is death, behind them is Savitri following in his footsteps. And they are going to the abode of Yama. We do not have any description of any river they crossing it. There is no river which they are crossing, as we shall see later on in those respective cantos. But Savitri is telling here that she is prepared to go with Satyavan by crossing this river. How is it that there is no mention of river later on, when the actual spirit, the dead spirit of Satyavan, is being carried by Yama? Well, one crosses these rivers, those who are sinful, have blemished life, have not really risen to the greatness of the Spirit. It is they who cross this river. In the case of Savitri, here Savitri is in a human state, and therefore she is expressing human anguish, human notion of things which happen after death. But actually the soul of Savitri is blameless, without any flaw, absolutely no sin. It is a radiant purity, untouched by any gloom, any fault. And therefore, there is no question of she crossing any river, a tenebrous river. In the case of the death of Satyavan, it is Yama himself who has come to pick up his soul. Yama doesn't have to cross that river. He is simply going back to his abode. So why Savitri is mentioning the possibility of going as Sati and crossing this river? In actuality, when the death occurs, there is no question of they crossing any river. You have got a detailed description of the landscape of the countries through which death is passing, but no Vaitarani is there, no Styx is there. So Savitri says, why should I bother about all these things, these creatures? Let me just accompany my husband and be with him forever. Obviously, the voice is not going to accept her argument. It has come with a certain degree of insistence, and it is going to impose its will on human Savitri. Human Savitri will have to accept it.
We have seen last time Savitri was counter-arguing against the command she had received from her Samit's being. She wanted to forget man and life and time and its hours, forget the call of eternity, forget God Himself. She wanted to walk away along with Satyavan to the other world and forget everything of his creation. She had taken an extreme viewpoint of abandoning all that is here. For her, the main concern, the chief concern, the chief love was Satyavan alone, and she would sacrifice her life fully for his sake, to be always with him. Forget man and life and time and its hours. Forget eternity's call. Forget God. She has at the moment no complete idea about the call of eternity, about God Himself, what intention He has for her. As human Savitri, she is taking an extreme viewpoint, a kind of vishad, regret, sorrow. lack of total interest in this creation. But that is of course not acceptable to the voice, which was coming from her own Savit's height, being. It cannot be acceptable to the voice, the Supreme Voice, through the divine power governing the spirit of Savitri. So the voice replies, the voice replied, it is enough, O spirit, that she wanted to give up everything and walk away along with Satyavan, forgetting all those things. What for I should strive? Why should I strive and suffering and time and all that? Why should I bother about this human race? She was arguing with that. But the voice is stern and almost in a tone of reprimand tells Savitri, asks Savitri, demands Savitri an answer. Is this enough, O spirit? Human Savitri is not in a position to understand that, but her spirit should be able to tell directly what is in it. The voice replied, is this enough, O spirit? And what shall thy soul say when it wakes and knows the work was left undone for which it came? Or it is all for thy being, born on earth, charged with a mandate from eternity, a listener to the voices of the ears, a follower of the footprints of the gods, to pass and live unchanged the old dusty laws. Shall there be no new tables, no new world, no greater light come down upon the earth, delivering her from her unconsciousness, man's spirit from unalterable fate? Camest thou not down to open the doors of fate, the iron doors that stand forever closed, and lead man to truth's wide and golden road that runs through finite things to eternity? Is this then the report that I must make? My head bowed with shame before the eternal seat. His power he kindled in thy body has failed. His laborer returns, her task undone. Then Savitri's heart fell mute. He spoke no word, but holding back her troubled rebel heart, abrupt, erect and strong, calm like a hill, surmounting the seas of mortal ignorance, he speak immutable above mind's air. A power within her answered the still voice, I am thy portion here, charged with thy work. As thou, myself seated forever above, speak to my depths, O great and deathless voice, command, for I am here to do thy will. The voice replied, remember why thou camest, find out thy soul, recover thy hid self. In silence is God's meaning in thy depths, then mortal nature change to the divine. Open God's door, enter into his trance, cast thought from thee, that nimble ape of light. In his tremendous hush, stilling thy brain, is vast awake within, and know and see. Cast from thee sense that veil the spirit's sight, in the enormous emptiness of thy mind, thou shalt see the eternal's body in the world. Know him in every voice heard by thy soul. In the world's contacts meet his single touch. All things shall fold thee into his embrace. Conquer thy heart's throbs. Let thy heart beat in God. Thy nature shall be the engine of his works. Thy voice shall house the mightiness of his word. Then shalt thou harbor my foes and conquer death. Then Savitri by her doomed husband sat, still rigid in her golden motionless poise, a statue with the fire of the inner sun. In the black night, the wrath of storm stood by, the thunder crashed above her, the rain hissed, its million footsteps spattered on the roof, impassive with the movement and the cry, witness of the thoughts of mind, the moods of life. She looked into herself and sought for her soul. With the command, Savitri is now poised to seek her soul. She had been told very firmly that she cannot afford to argue, to take the stand she had proposed to do. It is impossible for her to do that. And the voice was firm, and the voice came from the highest soul of Savitri. The voice is making specific points. Firstly, in answer to the arguments Savitri herself had put, why struggle with this ignorant world? Why for this man anything be done when he is stupid, foolish, mute, dumb? What for? Let me go back and live in my heaven with my lover and husband. That is how she was arguing. But the voice says, is this enough? How can you say like that? In fact, it is amounting to say that you had no business to talk that way. You cannot talk like that at all. You have come here with a certain purpose, with a mission which you had to fulfill. And you can't say things like that. What for? The voice replied, is this enough, O spirit? It also tells Savitri that her soul has come here to do some divine work. It has not come here for nothing. There is a mission in her taking the birth in the human form, and she has to accomplish that. She has to complete that mission. What shall thy soul say when it wakes and knows the work was left undone? You want to go away like this, leaving the work unfinished, unattempted? How can you? For which it came, the soul had come here to do some work, and you want to leave all the thing and go away. This is something stupid of you. It's almost saying like that, you see. You can't afford to that. The work was left undone for which it came. What is the work? That of course is going to tell very briefly also. He has come here with a mandate, and Savitri's soul knows the work she has to do here, but now the voice is going to make it explicit, clear, distinct. Look, Savitri, this is what you have to do, this. See, the work was left undone for which it came. Is this what you propose to do? To go away, leaving the work half done, undone? Or is this all for thy being born on earth, charged with a mandate from eternity? You have come here with a mandate coming from the Supreme Himself. You have been charged with a mandate, and you have to accept that command of the Supreme. Charged with a mandate from eternity. What is the voice? A listener to the voices of the ears. Savitri has been listening to the voices through ages and ages and ages, crying for her help. The sorrow, the suffering, the misery of this world, supplicating Savitri, Savitri, please do something for us. You have been hearing these voices, and now you want to shut yourself off from those. A listener to the voices of the ears, a follower of the footprints of the gods. You have been moving in the steps of the gods, and now you want to walk away from here like a common, ordinary human being. How can it be? A follower of the footsteps of the gods, to pass and live unchanged the old dusty laws. In other words, the voice is telling Savitri, look, Savitri, you have come here to change these dusty laws, the laws of nature, the laws of ignorance, of fate, death, ignorance. These laws have now become dusty, and you have to throw them away and bring new laws of truth, of dynamism, of light, of beauty, joy, happiness. That is what you have to do here. And how can you say that you will go away from here? To pass and live unchanged the old dusty laws. Shall there be no new tables? Yes, we have been living here in the world of ignorance. We have made our own entries based upon our half knowledge, half ignorance, and we are stuck with that. But is that going to be the permanent feature of this creation? Shall there be no new tables, no new word, the Supreme Word coming here and speaking? The old word has created something for a certain purpose in a certain situation. It has created certain laws. But now those laws have become dusty. They have become old. The law of fate, the law of death, the law of ignorance, they cannot remain permanently in that form forever. And you have to change those things. The follower of the footprints of the gods, and to pass and live unchanged the old dusty laws. Shall there be no new tables, no new word, no greater light come down upon the earth? That is the mission of your life, to bring down the new light upon the earth. You have to bring new light. The old light has become dim, dark, dull, outdated. It cannot serve the purpose of this creation. It had a meaning up to a certain point, in a certain manner, in a certain situation. But that cannot be the permanent feature of this creation. Shall there be no new tables, no new word, no greater light come down upon the earth, delivering her from her unconsciousness? Earth, Prithvi, Bhumi has been lying here through the ages under the sway of ignorance and fate and death, in the condition, in the state of tamasa, of inertia, of mrityu. Shall there be no new possibilities for her, from asat to sat, from darkness to light, from mrityu to amruta, immortality. These things had to open out. Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotir gamaya, mrityor ma amrutam gamaya. That is what the earth is expecting, is praying for, and you have a mission to listen to that voice, that call, that invocation of the earth, and do your work. Man's spirit from unutterable fate came down not down to open the doors of fate. They have been locked. Soul cannot make any further progress at all because fate is blocking that. The iron doors that stay forever closed and lead man to truth's wide and golden road that run through finite things to eternity. The road is running from the finite to the infinite, from time into eternity. It is that road which has to be opened out for man, but the door is blocking. The door of fate is blocking that passage. You have to open out the door and let the passage be cleared for this progress, and lead man to truth's wide and golden road that runs through finite things to eternity. Is this then the report I must make? If you are not going to do these things, what do I go and report to my boss, who has told me, go and ask Savitri to be ready for your work? But if I are going to refuse it, what do I go and report? I will put my head down in shame. I will not be able to stand and face him and look into his eyes. Is this then the report that I must make? My head bowed down with shame before the eternal succeed. His power he kindled in thy body's faith. His power he kindled in thy body. This is what Savitri's birth means. Her physical body is also charged with the power of the Supreme. It has already in its possession that power of the Supreme, even in the physical. And you are saying that you will not do this thing. Has that power which is sitting now in your body failed? Is it the report I am going to make to the Supreme? His power kindled in thy body has failed. His laborer returns, her task undone. Savitri wanted to go away with Satyavan, walk away from this world, cross the tenebrous river and be with him in the other world. She wanted to go essentially as Sati, accompanying him as Sati. The voice says, sorry Savitri, it is not for you. You cannot do that. You are here with a mission, with a definite work to do, and you had to do that kind of a thing here. So the voice is very firm, very insistent, very demanding also, and practically Savitri has no option but to accept what she is being told to do. In fact, there is something very deep in her which recognizes the purpose of her life. Suddenly something has taken up in her. Yes, I not come here just for nothing. I have work to do. Through the ages, through years and years and years, I have been coming here for work, for some work to do. How can I go away? Savitri at once realizes that the human part of Savitri, which was not opening to the divine power, has now realized that no, it cannot be so. It must get ready to do the assigned task. Is this then the report that I must make? My head bowed which stand before the eternal seat. His power he kindled in thy body has filled. Now this is the greatness of Savitri. That is the incarnation. It is he himself in the form of Shakti, power, who has established in her physical body here. So Savitri is not an ordinary human being. Already in her physical body is the presence of that presence. His laborer return. She has to do hard work. She is a toiler. She cannot escape the work which is associated with the mission she has to do here. His laborer returns, her task undone. Then Savitri's heart fell mute. He spoke no word. Suddenly Savitri has fallen silent. The voice has such effect on her entire being that it became absolutely calm, still, and what was present was only the force of that voice working in her. Then Savitri's heart fell mute. He spoke no word, but holding back her troubled, rebel heart, abrupt, erect and strong, firm like a hill, surmounting the seas of mortal ignorance. The whole sea of ignorance is there. The mortal ignorance is there. Savitri has taken a mortal birth, but now her soul realizes that it has to climb above the sea of ignorance like a mountain, like a hill, stand above all that is there around her. Abrupt, erect and strong, calm like a hill, surmounting the seas of mortal ignorance, he speak, immutable above mind's air. A power within her answered the still voice of Savitri's inner being, the power which is permanently seated deep within her, the human portion of the divine which is present deep in her soul. It is that power now which is answering to the voice. A power within her answered the still voice, the voice which is coming down from above, the voice of the power which is above, the supramental, the transcendental Savitri, who is speaking to the human Savitri here. It is in that human Savitri that her power has awakened in it. A power within her answered the still voice, I am thy portion. Yes, I am your ansha, part of what you are. I am you. I am thy portion, here charged with thy work. Yes, I must do the work which you have proposed for me to do. I can't ignore it. I can't keep it aside. I can't dismiss it. I am thy portion here, charged with thy work, as thou myself seated forever above. You are seated above, always above me. As thou myself, I am myself seated above here. And this is what you are. As thou myself seated forever above, speak to my depths, O great and deathless voice, command, for I am here to do thy will. That is the purpose of my birth. I am here to do thy will. Come on, please, please, please speak what I should do here. Forgive me. Ignore what I was saying until now of walking away from this creation. I had now realized that there is some work to be done here and I must attend to that. Command, for I am here to do thy will. The voice replied. The voice finds Savitri now ready to receive the initiation. Savitri is receiving Diksha to start yoga. How the yoga has to begin, that is now being told to Savitri. Diksha, initiation. The voice replied, remember why thou camest. Don't forget the purpose of your birth. Remember why thou camest. Find out thy soul. That is the first task which you have to do. Remember the purpose of your birth. Remember why we are here all in the ashram, which we often forget and do all kind of silly things, thousand silly things in this world. We don't remember the purpose of our coming here. But here the problem is more serious. It is a fundamental problem, the cosmic problem, the problem of creation itself. And it is in that context Savitri is being told that she must remember the purpose of her birth. Find out thy soul. Alright, the remembering is okay, but it's not enough. In order to do what you are supposed to do, that you would of course remember now. But in order to do that, you must first discover your soul and go by what your soul is going to tell you. Not your outer human nature, not your surface being, but the deep soul within. It is that which will tell you what to do. In other words, the human portion of the divine Shakti seated in the soul of Savitri has to get into operation and carry out the mission task. Find out thy soul, recover thyself in silence, seek God's meaning in thy depths. Don't argue, don't get perturbed, don't be passionate, don't be emotional, don't be tamasic. In full luminous poise of peace and calm, understand the purpose of your birth and do what you are supposed to do. The first thing which you have to do is find out the meaning of your birth in thy soul, in thy depths. Find out that first. Remember, then seek your soul. Find out the purpose of that soul, what it is supposed to do. So, the voice has already described the 3 steps by which Savitri's yoga has to begin. Then, when that is done, then mortal nature change to the divine. When you go by the promptings of your soul, then what you are standing here as a mortal, it will be no more mortal. It will change into the divine. Your nature, your physical presence, everything will be charged with the divine presence and power. So that is the siddhi, that is the parashruti of your yogic sadhana. First you remember the purpose of your birth, find out your soul, find out the purpose of the presence of the existence of your soul, what it is supposed to do here. That it is this creation which has to go from the mortal state to the state of immortality. That is the task which you are supposed to do. Then mortal nature change to the divine. Open God's door, enter into His trance. So step by step the entire recipe is being given to Savitri. Do this, do this, do this, do this. All the points are being listed one after the other, and it is in that sequence that Savitri must begin her yoga and walk on the yogic path. Open God's door, enter into His trance, and then Cast thought from thee. After all, what is thought? It is a creation of mind. It has no real truth in it. It is alright, but the real truth is something else. So it is not by thought that it should be led. It is not by emotion, by passion, by the body's desires that it should proceed. You have to find out something which is really deeper, something which is in line with the mission of your soul. Cast thought from thee, that nimble ape of light, in his tremendous hush, stilling thy brain. When you have the siddhi of the silent mind, passive Brahman, then you see what? You see his vast truth awaking within you. There is no thought, there is no feeling, there is no emotion, there is no body's resistance to things. Under that condition, what you see? You will see his vast truth within you, and it is with that truth that you will know things, you will see things, you will do things. Cast from thee sense, all our perceptions of knowledge, cognition, all the five senses. Behind the five senses, the sense of mind, manas, that is the primary sense, and then we have got the other five senses. Behind these, beyond these, is the true sense, sadjnana. When you have acquired that sense, then you see the real things of this creation. Cast from thee sense that veils thy spirit's sight. Sadjnana will not veil the sight of the spirit from you. It will tell you what the spirit is, what the spirit's sight is. In the enormous emptiness of thy mind, thou shalt see the eternal's body in the world. This is not a jadatva of ignorance kind that God had intended it to be. Behind this world, behind the jadatva, this inertia, brute matter, is the presence of the Divine Himself. Therefore the voice tells Savitri, thou shalt see the Eternal's body physically present here in this verse, in this creation. Eternal's body in the world. Know Him in every voice, in the world's contacts, it is single touch. All things shall fold thee into His embrace. So you will have the universality of realization. It is not for you, for Satyavan, or for some specific purpose that you were born here. It is for this world, for this creation. And what do you see here? Yes, this whole world is the body of the Eternal Himself, of Brahma Himself. It is Brahma who is residing here physically, and that is what you will realize and you will see. All things shall fold thee into His embrace. Conquer thy heart's throbs. The physical throbs which are there, you have to master over them. In other words, even if Jesus' heart fails, you shall not die. You will not die. The power of conquering the heartbeats would mean your conquest of death. You would be master of your life. Conquer thy heart's throb. Let thy heart beat in God. That is the immortality you will get. Thy nature shall be the engine of His works. Thy voice shall house thee. Thy voice shall house the mightiness of His word. What you will be seeing? Vak, Vacha. It is the divine Vakya which will be spoken through you. Then shalt thou harbor, when this is done, all these steps, when you have accomplished, when this is done, thou shalt harbor my force and conquer death. So that is the condition. If you want to conquer death, This is the recipe for that. Follow it and you will be victorious. Then Savitri by her doomed husband sat, still rigid in a golden motionless pose, a statue of the fire of the inner sun. Savitri has become now the fire of the inner sun, still like a golden statue, unperturbed, ready now to follow the instructions given to her by the mighty voice. In the black night, the wrath of storm stood by. The thunder crashed above her. She is sitting in the hermitage by the side of her husband, and outside the thunder crashed above her. The rain hissed, its million footsteps pattered on the roof. Impassive mid the movement and the cry, witness the thoughts of mind, the moods of life, witness the thoughts of mind, witness the moods of life. She looked into herself and sought her soul. She was asked to find out her soul. She has become a golden statue of peace, like a burning fire of the sun in her soul. And with that now she is ready on the yogic path. The first task in front of her is to find her soul, and then what has to be done, that she will be told as she progresses on the yogic journey.